Hi everyone, it's Jodie here from jolouis.com. Today I have two cards to share with you using Catherine Pooler Designs stamps, dies and ink. So let's get started. To begin with, I'm going to use the Plaid Background stamp. I'm going to ink this up using the Catherine Pooler Rockin' Red ink pad. I'm just putting the ink all over the background, and then I'm going to use a piece of Nina Solar White cardstock, and I'm just going to press that directly down onto this background stamp. Now, in order to not get my hands all inky, I'm just using a piece of computer paper on top of that, and I'm going to rub the stamp so that to make sure all of the ink transfers really well. And then I'm just going to lift up my piece of paper to reveal my stamped background. So now I'm going to adhere my background panel to a top folding card base using Tombow Mono Multi Glue. The finished card size is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, a standard card size. Next, I am using my Big Shot die cutting machine with the magnetic base plate to die cut both the small and the large doily dies from Catherine Pooler Designs. I am cutting them from two separate pieces of cardstock that are cut to the standard card size so that I can use both the positive and negative pieces of these dies. So here I'm just cutting the large doily, and I'm making sure that it's centered towards the top of my piece of cardstock. And then next I'm going to use the second sheet of Nina Solar White cardstock, and I'm going to cut out the small doily, and I'm going to center that again towards the top of my piece of paper. So here you see me using a piercing tool to get rid of all the unwanted pieces in my doily die cuts. I should have used my metal shim to run through the Big Shot, but I forgot. So here you see me using my piercing tool. I'm now using my Versamark ink pad, which is a clear sticky ink, and I'm just pushing this all over my small doily die cut. I'm doing this on a scrap of paper so that I don't get the ink all over my cutting mat. And now I'm just going to pour over my Wow embossing powder in the red glitz embossing glitter. I'm just tipping that all over, and then I'm going to shake off the excess onto my piece of computer paper. And then I'm going to pour the rest of the leftover glitter back into my container. So now that I've done that, I'm going to take my heat tool and I'm going to wait for it to get good and hot before I take it toward my die cut. And I'm just going to heat up the embossing powder until it melts. And then I have my very glittery, sparkly piece ready to use on my card. So now I'm taking the tags etc. dies from Catherine Pooler Designs, and I'm going to use the larger heart in this set to cut a heart shape from the center of the doily we just created. And I'm using some low tack tape to make sure that I get the heart right in the center of this doily shape. And I'm going to run it through my Big Shot machine so that I have a heart shape cut out of the center. for the sentiment, I'm going to stamp the Bonjour stamp from the Hello World stamp set by Catherine Pooler Designs, and I'm using the Rockin' Red ink color again, and then I'm just using the coordinating dies to cut that out, as well as a tag from Tags Etc. Once I've die cut these both out, I'm using the Cherie Armée, pardon my pronunciation, to stamp on the tag in the Rockin' Red color as well. And I'm going to use both of these to make the sentiment on my card. Lastly, it comes time to put together our card. So I'm taking my Tombow glue again, and I'm gluing on the back of the large doily, and I'm going to place that toward the middle at the top of the card. Then I'm also just gluing down the Cherie Amie tag piece to go at the bottom. And now I'm going to use my 3M mounting tape to give a little dimension to the glittery small doily that we created, and also to the Bonjour sentiment. So you just see me now adhering the 3M mounting tape to my pieces, and then I'm going to remove the backing of the tape and I'm going to stick it onto my card. And there we have our completed first card. Now on to the second one. For my second card, I'm using the two negative die cut pieces that we created before, and I'm using the piece of paper that we die cut the small doily from, and I'm just doing direct to paper with the Rockin' Red ink pad, and then it sort of creates a flower shape when you add the white piece on top of it. So what I'm going to do is add the white piece, but I'm going to use 3M mounting tape to give it a little bit of dimension. So here you see me just adding a whole bunch of 3M mounting tape, and then I'm going to remove the backing tape and adhere this to my red small doily piece. So before I adhere this piece to my card base, I want to do the stamping. Just in case I mess up the stamping, then I can always start again rather than having to die cut these pieces again. So I'm just using some low tack tape to hold it to my card base. And now I'm using the Catherine Pooler Designs Medallion Mix-Up, and I'm using a couple of the stamps. You can see which ones I'm using there. I'm just adhering the actual stamp to a clear block, and I'm inking it up using the Rockin' Red color again, and I'm stamping down quite firmly in the center of the flower design that I created with the die cuts. And now I'm just taking the next piece that I want to use, which is actually the same design as the small doily die, so it works quite well on this piece, I think. And then I'm taking the small flower from the set and stamping that down in the middle. I just added the sentiment from the same stamp set, the With Love, using the Rock and Red ink. Now I'm just adhering my whole die cut panel to my card base using some Tombow Mono multi glue. Once I've done that, I'm just going to use my clear Wink of Stella pen to give a little bit of glitter to the middle flower and also the little love heart at the bottom. Just be careful when you do this because the ink you just used is water-based and you might get a little bit of ink transfer. And here we have the 2 completed cards. If you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more card making videos. For more information and pictures, please visit my blog, which is linked below the video description in YouTube. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!